Hey everybody, welcome back to Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. Today is going to be a sort of tech edition. We didn't release a video on time. We do it every 3 days, and we actually missed the day this time. And the reason we missed it is it's been crazy busy with work, our upcoming Disney trip next week. And yesterday was actually my wife's birthday, so that kind of took precedence. Happy birthday, honey. I hope you had a good time. If not, it's your own fault. That being said, I was playing with my GoPro last night and I discovered something, and I feel really dumb for not knowing this. For those of you who watch our videos, when we go to Disneyland, I tend to use the GoPro quite a bit when we're in the park. I do an external mic on there so it looks and sounds pretty good, and it looks really good, but there's always some little things that could be better. For example, the lens and angles and everything could be better, a better wide angle lens per se. I had no idea that my GoPro did this. It actually has a removable lens. What's really funny is I knew that the GoPro 11 and 12 did it, but for some reason I didn't realize the 9 and the 10 did it. Because let's be fair, I bought this one kind of in the spur of the moment on a trip to Disney about a year or so ago. We got out there and the GoPro I like to use in the park, unfortunately, kind of seen better days. So the night before we went to the park, I went and just bought a GoPro Hero 10 that they had in stock at the Best Buy near Disneyland. So I found out they do make these lenses for it, and I found a place in Tucson that had one, and more importantly, it was on sale. So let's go pick it up. A little unscheduled stop. Let's go try it out. Little surprise for the wife at work. Let's go drop her off some treats. And just like that, we're home. So we ventured about a 60-mile round trip to pick this up. And first, before we get into anything else, Cinnaholic was fantastic. So we're gonna do a full video on them later, but for all intents and purposes right now, it was good. It's definitely worth a try. I will say it is kind of just a cinnamon bun. You got to get all the toppings on it to actually make it different or something unique, but the reality is it's a cinnamon, it's a cinnamon roll. See, cross-brand comparisons. It's a cinnamon roll, but it was really delicious. And the one I got for my wife that had all the toppings on it, forgive me, we didn't take pictures. It was kind of our lunch because, you know, I'm an adult and I eat cinnamon rolls for lunch sometimes. But we drove across town for this. Let's check it out and explain exactly what it is that I picked up today. So our little channel here is called Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. It all started when I got my first Tesla Model 3 back in 2020. Something I've been dreaming of having for a long time, ever since I saw the original Roadster and the idea of electric cars, and I love technology. So I saved, I worked hard, and eventually we got it. We've actually been upgraded to a second Tesla in the family now, but a big part of that is Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. So I love technology. I work in technology to a certain degree, and I just love gadgets and tech. It's something I've always been into ever since I was a little kid. So naturally, when I started doing the YouTube stuff, I couldn't really decide on how I wanted to do it or how I wanted to capture it. Am I gonna be the person that just shoots with the phone? Am I gonna be a person that shoots with a big DSLR camera with multiple lenses, or what? Well, I've kind of trial and errored a lot of different cameras, and I pretty much stick to my Canon G7X Mark II or Mark III, and I also stick to my GoPros. I had the GoPro 8 for the longest time, and it worked perfectly for everything I wanted to do. I love the picture quality. Admittedly, the sound wasn't so great, so I invested in one of these, which is a media mod. Put it in there, and it gives you the extensions to use different microphones and other ads. So the mod I normally use is microphones, whether it's a little shotgun mic or these wireless mics right here, the Rode Wireless Go 2. But one thing it didn't have that I loved with my G7 Mark X was a better lens, like wide angle shots like you're seeing now. But here's the thing, even the G7X Mark II and 3 didn't have the best wide angle shots. Then I invested in a lens called a newer mod that went on to the Canon G7X Mark II or Mark III. Made all the difference in the world. I love it, I shoot with it all the time. Downside is it does cause the camera to overheat between that and the battery and all the other stuff I have on there for the modifications. So I predominantly found myself shooting with this in places like Disneyland or packed areas. I'm not carrying the big camera at that point, but I'm still getting that video quality. But like I said, the one thing that's always lacked was that nicer wide angle option. And I can't believe I didn't know this. Earlier in the video, I already alluded to it. The lens on here does come off and is interchangeable. I don't know how I missed that. I mean, maybe I'm not the best tech site, for obvious reasons. But as soon as I found that out, I was like, there's gotta be modifications for it. So I began scouring, and then I found this. they already had a mod available for it. This is the max lens mod for the G7X, the GoPro 9 and 10. They normally run $100, but since we are on the 11, 12, and I believe 13 coming out soon, this was actually marked down to $69.99, and I found a place here in Tucson, albeit on the other side of Tucson, hence the little montage earlier of us traveling to it, that carried it. So let's unbox it and get it on there and see if it makes a difference and if it was worth the investment. I'm really excited for this because we're going to Disneyland in a week and I'm probably going to be shooting with this a lot. Let's open it up and see. It's got a little pull tab here on the bottom. How satisfying. I watch a lot of these reviews leading up to this and everyone just kind of rips it out. So I almost freaked out for a second. I opened it up and there was nothing there. It was upside down. So all that packaging for this little guy right here. Contents, you can imagine, it's just a little mini microfiber cloth and the camera lens itself. So here's the back end of it where you would take this off and put it on, and then once it's on there, you remove this portion. So before we do anything, let's take off the old one and put on the new one. But yeah, that was really anticlimactic. That was the entire contents of the box. Sorry if that's what you tuned in for. It was an unboxing that kind of ended at that end of the sentence. All right, let's put it on the camera. All right, first things first, let's take off the media mod. And let's take out the battery. So I'm going to take off the original lens, and this is a cool thing I learned too. The cover that covers the bottom of the old lens, actually, you can place the other lens in. And everybody recommends you put it on first before removing the outer cover. So if you see there's little divots here that line up here. Once you put it in place, just like the other one, you turn, and voila. Oh, I apparently didn't get it on all the way. There we go. And voila, you have the lens. It sticks out quite a bit, and the thing I'm concerned about, is I do use the media mod obviously, is how does it fit with the lens on there? And like a glove. So that's going to be very useful and very helpful going forward. Of course, I didn't put the battery in, so let's put the battery in and turn it on, and let's go over some of the settings you got to do. Got it turned on, and the first thing you'll see, it's definitely kind of a fishbowl, which is not what we're going for. So from what I understand, after we unlock it here, we go into the medium right there. So that icon is new. That is our media mod, or not media mod, our lens icon. Maximum performance enabled, continue. And now we got a true wide angle lens. That is pretty cool. Hello. See, now I'm recording. Hello. Oh. Man, that is really a wide angle lens. I'm really impressed with this. Let's do some before and after shots and see what we get. Hopefully we don't get disappointed. Let's find out. So here in the backyard, we're shooting the soccer goal my kids have. And right now we're shooting with the max lens on, but this is where we find our first con. It only allows us to shoot in 2.7K. 4K is not an option, which is what we predominantly shoot in. So that's already kind of a negative. But let's switch over to the regular lens and see what the difference is as far as just visual goes. Exact same angle as using the wide angle lens mod, now with the regular lens. You can see the difference. The wide angle lens is incredibly wide, especially for what the GoPro is capable of doing. But again, the only knock is we went from 4K to 2.7K. Just to give you an idea, I'll overlay the 2.7K as just an image right here over top of the 4K. As you can see, there is kind of a slight difference, but I don't know if it'll be really discernible to the average eye. But the nice thing is, since it is 2.7K, when we actually upscale it in final video view, it'll be 4K, but will there be a graininess? And one of the complaints I've seen with the max lens mod is that it is not as good in low light as the regular camera itself. So let's find out for sure here. Let's switch back to that max lens mod. Well, there you have it. The max lens mod does live up to its name. Another potential con we just learned is if you want to switch this lens in and out pretty fast, with the media mod on there, it is a very tight fit. I kind of had to force it a little bit just to switch it out pretty quickly. But let's take a quick look at what we actually use this for on a regular basis and how it works there. And what we use it for on a regular basis is vlogging. So here's what it looks like with a wide angle lens behind me here. See the kids' goal and everything. And I have the windscreen on here, so hopefully it doesn't sound too bad. But this is what we're going to use it for on a regular basis. But I can already see the difference because I have the screen here on front. Normally I'm very tight in the screen if I'm centered. I can see a lot on either side of me in the screen I'm facing as I vlog and talk. So let's go talk about our pros and cons from the few little things we've done with it so far. So granted, we only did a minor test with the lens to see what it would look like and the quality and everything. But here's my pros and cons so far. My pros, as you saw, actually a great wide angle lens for such a small camera. It goes into tight spaces really easy. You can just throw it in your pocket and go if you really need to, which is awesome. Big step up for my G7X Mark III. But here's the cons. One, it only shoots in 2.7K. I thought it was going to be in 4K because it's just a lens modification. That has nothing to do with the camera itself, or at least so I thought. But there's obviously some sort of sensor, so when I put it on, it automatically knew it was in like that max lens mode. So it automatically goes down to the 2.7K. So my concern there is, the camera already wasn't the greatest low light camera, even though it shot great low light last time we were in Disneyland. This is just going to make it a little bit harder to shoot in low light, so dark rides and things like that at Disneyland, or even just shooting at night when we're out and about. So that's a con. The other con is, I don't know how to describe it other than it added a graininess to one of the videos, and then you probably saw earlier when I first switched it off and I was shooting my camera, my G7X Mark III, it was really grainy and choppy. I don't know, that's just because I just put it on for the first time. I hadn't really tweaked all the settings just yet, but that was a little bit of a concern to me as well. The other con is, the whole point of this camera is supposed to be so small and compact. Now it's just getting bigger and bigger, but that's kind of the life of adding these modifications on. I mean, my G7X Mark III is no different. The camera itself is really small, but I have the little harness on there. I got the extension for the microphones. I got the lens mod on there. It becomes larger, and like in this case, with the G7X Mark III, it overheats quite a bit, which drives me nuts. But I've actually had the same issue with my GoPros in the past as well. And with this one, the GoPro Tint Black, it was this little camera. Now I got the media mod on there, I got the microphones on there, and now I'm adding this extra lens. So we basically Frankenstein these cameras, so they're just shadows of what their former selves were. And in this case, you know, I could have went with like a DSLR with a nicer lens, but I was like, oh, this would be cheaper and shoots just as good a quality, which is kind of true, but then with all the modifications I made, it's now getting up there in price as well. But here's the pros. For the price we paid for it, it's a great accessory to have. I have zero regrets in that regard. $69.99 for a great lens modification. I believe my newer one that I have here on the G7X Mark III was roughly right around 60 bucks itself, so that's not terrible. The other thing is it's really compact, it's easy to take with me, so it's not like I'm making a huge modification in the way we travel just to have this piece with me. And when we're outside, which is what we're going to be for most of the time with this type of camera, there's not going to be an issue. It's not low light. We're pretty much outside during the day. We live in Arizona, which is sunny 295 days of the year. And then we go to Southern California, which is also sunny like 295 days of the year. So in this case, the pros heavily outweigh the cons. But then again, we've only had it for about an hour, so that could change with the more we use. Just like here, I talked for days about how great the G7X Mark III was, especially with that microphone modification on there, the add. So I can actually put an external mic where I couldn't do with my G7X Mark II. But the overheating issues has always been a problem. So now it's really hard for me to necessarily recommend it to someone who wants to vlog for either like a living or on a regular basis, because if you go to turn it on and you have to capture that thing real quick, it overheats quite a bit. It's happened more than once during our shoots. That's why I always carry a couple cameras with me, and you'll see a lot of me like shooting on the phone and intertwining with the Canon or even with the GoPro footage. All that being said, tell me what you guys think. Have you had this mod before, this lens and everything else? Do you think it's worth it on the GoPro? Do you shoot on the GoPro quite a bit outside of action? I'm talking about just as a regular everyday camera for vlogging or whatever. Let me know down below. And if you haven't done so already, please like and subscribe. We are so close to hitting our 400 subscribers. I would love to hit it out in the next month or so. So hey, sharing is caring. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you share with your friends. And even if you don't get anything from this video, give it a thumb. No, I'm kidding. I hope it was helpful, because I make videos on things I have questions about or things I experience. So that was the whole point of this one. I wanted to add that modification on for something I'm going to do on a regular basis. And hopefully this will be helpful to you as well. Hey guys, thanks for watching this far. Thanks for taking the ride with us. We're Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. We specialize in videos about Teslas, technology, and traveling. We don't put in the title, but also comic books. I'm a huge comic book and collectible and, well, even a sports nerd. So follow us for basically all things lifestyle and hanging out and seeing what our family's up to. Until next time, bye-bye everybody.